Hey everybody, welcome to G4G on YouTube. I'm Napalm Dawn, and let's just go ahead and jump right into the Marvel footage that popped up this weekend during E3. So we got two videos to go through. Let's jump into the first one. Now we'll roll right into the second one right after it, and then we'll have a big discussion.
Avengers, secure that super weapon at all costs.
Oh yeah, the future's in peril, all right, Avengers.
30-second counts, people. Keep it moving.
It's beautiful, isn't it?
Scientist Supreme is creating the ultimate weapon. More skins!
You're out of your depth,
Shutting you down, Monica.
The world doesn't need Avengers. AIM will save this world. I will save it.
Okay, look, that part just looks so weird. Them just throwing all of their gusto and weapons into a cube. I mean, seriously, what is this, Hellraiser? Like, is Monica gonna open up a gate to the Hell Dimension and Pinhead's gonna come out and literally yell, "Time to pay for more skins in the marketplace"?
There's no end to these crumbs. You don't understand what that cube is capable of.
I mean, yeah, sorry, Destiny beat you to Patrol mode. Destiny 1 even beat you to it, but let's see what they do. I think it's gonna be a Destiny Patrol style mode. Randomized, replayable boss fights with the same 3 bosses you know and love, folks. Okay, so that's the first one. This video splits it up. Let's roll right into the second one, and then we'll start chatting.
I applaud your efforts to connect with your roots, but as a man who has seen 3 Black Panthers fall, I must warn you.
The voice of this guy reminds me of the voice of one of the guys in the LA apartment in the beginning of Black Panther. What man can do with all that power?
You just wanted to show off these suits.
That Shuri sounds fantastic.
It is Claw.
It's Nathan Drake.
Vibranium doesn't belong to you.
You are right. Vibranium does not belong to me. It belongs to Wakanda.
Okay. Seeing this Sentinel-sized claw come out is really interesting. My thoughts are still out on the Black Panther suit. I think it looks pretty good, but at the same token, I think some of the proportions look a little weird. Like in this still, I get behind it, but in some of the footage, it just looks like a weird build. And I don't mean a weird build compared to how Black Panther's skin has looked in the MCU. I mean, just out of any Black Panther that we've even seen, even the the second suit that we got within Marvel Avengers Alliance, which does have a different build than the more svelte, thinner Black Panther builds that we've seen before. So in the first one, the roadmap trailer, okay, we're about halfway through June. Where is this Cosmic Cube stuff? Really interested to see what goes on over here. It's gonna be AIM again. Like, from what I've seen, the community is really saying we just gotta get rid of the AIM stuff. Like, can we get somebody other than AIM that are our villains now? Like, can we just do something different? And I wholeheartedly agree. Like, I think hopefully this Cosmic Cube event puts the AIM faction to death. And we're done with Monica. We're done with AIM. And we can move on to different things at this point. Sitting there dumping a whole bunch of ranged attacks into a Hellraiser Rubik's Cube is going to be interesting. At least some of the environments are really varied. Definitely going to be happy to see something different here for the environments, like this sort of pixelated Matrix computer virus world. Will be nice. Those AIM mobs there looked a little bit different. Okay, so this cat move, man, from what I know, like, what Taskmaster's gonna do in the Black Widow movie, what Cap did when he did this stunt in the elevator in Winter Soldier, if I remember correctly, it was so sharp and fast and crisp when they do it, when Taskmaster does it, from what I've seen of the footage of Black Widow. And when Cap does it in the elevator, this one's just kind of like, meh. I'm not going to say like it's sloppy or anything. It's just meh. Which is, sadly par for the course for Marvel's Avengers. I mean, so I recently did a video on the quote-unquote steampunk skins when they came out, and I had to do a video on it because I thought it was just absolutely pathetic that they called it steampunk. And I am not a steampunk diehard purist that has to sit here and be like, actually, if it was really steampunk, it should have exactly 3.5 gallons of steam in a backpack. Like, I'm not the Simpsons comic book guy over it. It's a fun aesthetic. It's certainly shockingly different in games where it shows up. So, for example, if you take a look at DC Infinite Crisis and you go to Steampunk, okay? Now, I did a little bit of that beta when Infinite Crisis was in a beta, and it was before I really knew what the hell I was doing with MOBAs. And they had what I thought was amazing alternate universe skins in there. So, for example, this Joker, this fat butcher Joker over here, was a steampunk Joker. This Batman is a steampunk Batman. Look at the gadgets, the sort of Tesla rods going on over there. A futuristic set of equipment for the time. I mean, obviously it doesn't look futuristic now, but it looks at then. This Catwoman, I mean, you could say, okay, this Catwoman sort of resembles what we're seeing with Marvel superheroes, steampunk aesthetic, but it's richer. I mean, there's way more metal. The claws look like what you would expect for that time. DC, is as much as I'm loath to admit it, did a really, really good thing with their steampunk in Infinite Crisis. See, okay, these here, and I'm sure this is actually fan art, but the claws here look mechanical, which really aids to the steampunk. Yes, you've got the purples and golds, but this looks very mechanical. It looks functional, whereas, in the other one that I showed, it just looks like it's there. It's fixed. Actually, no, wait a minute. I see the bar going down here. So yeah, it does look functional. And they did some other cool things like Nightmare Batman. Fucking Marvel Avengers Alliance 2 did steampunk, really, really well. When they had the Captain America anniversary, that's right there. That's it right there. That's steampunk. And that's steampunk in Marvel. Like, that is what Captain should have looked like. Even these things are way steampunkier looking than what we had. So, I mean, Marvel right now is been a bit of a joke. They're being a joke about the MCU skins, where the first two were failures, and then they hit upon some decent ones. I mean, that looks like Destiny. That looked like a Destiny raid right there with the cube. I don't know. I mean, patrol mode, it's going to be interesting to see how they implement this, because if you look at Destiny and Destiny 2, when you are at your hub, be it the tower or wherever it is that you are, and you look down at a particular planet, you could either go right to a quest, or you go in patrol mode, which is you wander around and events get your, they catch your eye. You might wander into an area where a small little invasion force is coming in, and it's a public thing where, like, hey, the bad guys are coming to extract these crystals. You need to stop them. And that event kind of reminds me of the old Thumper events from Firefall, which didn't live particularly long. Sort of an FPS MMO that was around, I think, about 5-6 years ago. So you might have an event like that, or waves might come in that eventually lead to a big fat boss, like an ogre boss or something like that, and then disappears. And then you may wander around and you may get closer and closer to these little beepy signals. And when you get to the signal, you pull your ghost out. The ghost is like, okay, so this is what we got to do for this. They tend to be short, and they're very social, because unless you're going into those forbidden sectors, you're generally doing it with other people playing the game. Wasteland Patrol. If more than 7 people are playing the game at the time, and that's kind of a big thing right now, because there's a lot of people that have been talking about Abdonger's Steam count, and there's a lot of people going, this is weird with Steam count, and a lot of the defenders are saying they must have been glitches. It must have been down for maintenance, because, like, look here, and it's not down to like 6 people like you're seeing here. It's usually like a couple hundred or whatever. Patrol mode has the ability to do something for the game that could bring people in. And here's what I mean. You pick a character for patrol mode. Let's just say it's Hawkeye, like we're seeing here on the screen. You're not picking your party where you're picking your main and a bunch of your other characters that you've worked on. You pick a character, Kate, Hawkeye, Cap, whatever, and you go into patrol mode. And once you drop into patrol mode, you're not in matchmaking, but you're in a social open world, like Destiny, like dropping into the EDZ in Destiny 2. And you know how in Destiny 2, like, you land by that church, and people are getting on their ghosts and doing stuff, and, you know, if there's an event going on, you wander over to that event. Other people are there. You're not partying up with them. You're not matchmaking with them. They have their Kamala. They have their Iron Man. They have their Hulk. And you get together and you do a 5 or 10 minute event that you're collectively working together. And then when the event is over, you can reap the rewards. So, for example, I mean, I know it's the future, but say potentially you run into a bunch of AIM characters that are trying to repair a big AIM mech. You could wander in and do that where you have to kill enough of the AIM guards, and if you don't kill enough in time, maybe they do actually repair the mech, and then the mech comes to life, and you have to fight the mech. Or, if your damage is good enough and everything like that, you beat all the AIM characters before they restore the mech. Maybe you get bonus loot or something, and then when that's over, you fly away as Iron Man, you traverse away as Ms. Marvel, and you get out of there, and you're done. And you go wander over to another corner of the map. Like, right there, this is sort of what I'm talking about. Like, see the AIM mech over there. Maybe that's your captain, and that's some random dude's Hawkeye, and that's some random dude's Iron Man. And you don't have to get into a group with them. You don't really necessarily have to communicate. You're all doing your thing. Maybe it will pop up some kind of UI element that has the health of people around you. And if you're, a Miss Marvel, you know when to hit your healing spirit or whatever. That would be cool for patrol mode. And then if you want to do not group stuff, don't set yourself to be online. Or if you're online and you want to take a break from doing group stuff, go wander over and find one of the more solo things to do. Maybe their equivalent of like a lost sector would be, since this is the future wasteland, you go over to a section where there's like a little hole in the rock outcropping, and you're in a cave and you're doing stuff over there. And maybe make a template of like 20 things that occur on the patrol map, and randomly like spawn things out of that 20 pool. Here's a solo one that spawned. Go into the rocky outcropping and go down several twisty turns and fighting mobs and everything to find a good chest. Or like a DNA chest or something like that. And then over in the northern corner of the map, you have the whole repair the mech thing. Or Maestro decides to come out of hiding from his little special area. He's wandering around the wasteland, and you got to go beat him up, in a certain amount of time and everything like that. And just spawn like 3 or 4 out of the crop of 20 things that you could do. Speaking of interesting things, like when, other than that one portion of the intro, when you were on Hulk, did you really do like the whole wall runny thing over there? I feel like it was in the campaign and then it was never used since. Like, okay, like here's an event. Maestro's forces are mining out the body of the Sentinel for tech or electronics that could be used as batteries and everything, and you got to get there and stop them before they get a certain amount of like resources and everything. You can't let them hit a cap. I don't know what randomized replayable boss fights means. I mean, you have Taskmaster, you have the big bot, you have Abomination, and you have Maestro, which is really a reskinned Abomination for all purposes. I mean, let's call a green spade a green spade over here. You need more than 3 bosses. Exploration-based rewards? Again, what would happen if you just dropped in, and this isn't a party, and this isn't your friends, these are strangers. And, again, no matchmaking, and have crossplay. Have Steam people and PS people and Xbox people. By the way, no mention of Spider-Man. I mean, we're saying the Cosmic Cube is June. We are saying that July is, probably Wasteland mode, maybe even August. We are now looking at halfway through 2021, if not 3/4, and there is no sign of Spider-Man. These PS people, they really need to be wondering, like, what the hell were we so happy about getting Avengers on the PlayStation if we're not getting our Spider-Man over here. We can't hold this over PC Master Race people and Xbox fanboys if we're not getting Spider-Man. And, you know, to be honest, to be sold on that bill that you're getting Spider-Man if you get it on the PlayStation, you're really losing out on the true benefit of that if more than half of 2021 goes by and you don't get Spider-Man. I mean, at that point, it's truly, I will gladly pay you next Tuesdays from now for a hamburger today. By the way, that Shuri voice I thought was amazing. His voice really reminds me of one of the guys who was in the apartment in LA in the very, very beginning of the movie. I think the guy who was Killmonger's dad is who he sounds like. See, the arms are a little too big here. I think the biceps are a little too big for a typical Black Panther. The Dora was really good in this sequence. It's Nathan Drake with what I think is going to be Steve Blum's voice. Black Panther looks decent from the back here. Oddly, no sign of Claw's augmentation. I mean, you know, the funny thing is, we're used to seeing Claw now because of the MCU. But when I think of Claw, this is the Claw that I think of. I mean, this is where my brain goes when I hear somebody talking about Claw the villain. Yeah, you know, we have Andy Serkis now, Gollum. I mean, here, even in this Black Panther one, Shuri's Black Panther and just the classic Sonic Cannon Claw. Oh, look, Marvel Avengers art. I just saw it right there. Where'd you go? Right here. Yeah, I mean, boom. That's Marvel's Avengers Alliance type art right there. And even here, I mean, this looks so much like the MCU Claw, obviously. You know it's him because he calls it out and he has a bit of the accent. But by the same token, it's that uncanny village representation that Marvel's Avengers has been doing. I'm so happy to see new mobs. I mean, to be excited over some fucking spiders is crazy. But hey, you know, it's something. And it looks like Claw right around here. Yeah, he's got a weapon, so something happens where he's starting to get the cannon now. Halfway in between the comic representation and the movie representation, it's more of a round cannon look than that whole split arm thing that he did. So it's, you know, 75-25 skewed towards the modern representation of it, with like 25% dedicated to the gun arm over there rather than the weird like split arm. And that looks cool. Like I'm really interested in seeing what's happening over there. But yeah, that unfortunately is it for Marvel at E3, other than of course the Guardians of the Galaxy stuff. And admittedly, like this, I think they're going to knock it out of the park on this one. I mean, we got to be cautious because maybe Marvel's Avengers is setting a bad precedent now for Marvel's games at the AAA level. And that could, in a way, work in our favor for Guardians of the Galaxy. Because if they look at what's happening with Square and Crystal Dynamics and they're like, man, the community's just not too thrilled about this, it may make this game just go balls to the wall and be like, we cannot do Marvel's Avengers all over again. We have to be better than them. And it may be really, really sweaty try hard for this game in terms of being fun. They might just nail everything. And they did show about 12 minutes of game footage, and you play Star-Lord, and what you do is you have sort of a radial weapon, a radial setup in combat, where like one button's Groot, one button is Drax, and then once you've picked that character, you tell it what to do, like stay here or attack my target. Maybe Groot's got a heal, like okay, Groot, give us a heal. So you only play as Star-Lord from what I've seen. You don't command anybody else directly, but you, similar to like say Final Fantasy 12, you tell somebody else what to do. The Drax is a little bit of that like uncanny village thing going on from Marvel's Avengers, and the same thing for Star-Lord. But I think the Groot's good. I think Rocket's good. I think Gamora's good too. I'm very interested to see what they do with the villains. I think we're gonna hear about a whole lot of new people. This I love this Mantis look over there. It's like what, sort of a Rose McGowan Scream era Rose McGowan look. Seeing Cosmo in there is of course pretty cool. I don't know what that like space llama is. I'm excited for Guardians of the Galaxy. I think they're going to do it better than Avengers. I mean, Star-Lord has a ton of humor to him. And if he has 3/4 of the personality that Miss Marvel did in Marvel's Avengers, we're probably going to have a good game. And I really, really think it's going to be pushed for Guardians to be so much better than Avengers. People have gotten into discussions be like, oh, well, see, now it's a single player game because they don't want the failure of Avengers. Like, I'm way sure Guardians of the Galaxy was set to be single player no matter what universe Marvel's Avengers was in. So we're not hearing anything else. I haven't heard anything about Future Revolution. I haven't heard anything about Second Dinner's game as of yet. Second Dinner is the team that has Benjamin Brody that broke off from Blizzard and Hearthstone to do his own company and everything. A lot of people leaving Blizzard to do their own company right now. There's so many Blizzard offshoot companies that are still like in California. They're all staying in California. And I just read an article recently, like they hang out a lot. Like 7, 8 of the people that split off from Blizzard will like get together and have like a dinner somewhere, even if they're in their like multitude of different companies. And I think that's pretty cool because it shows you what Blizzard was but isn't now. And these people can carry the theme of old Blizzard into the future. But yeah, I'd say a meh about the Marvel showing at E3. Like, taking away Guardians of the Galaxy, I'm at like a 6, maybe a 6.5. With Guardians of the Galaxy, it bumps it up to an 8, and it really shoulders a lot of that load. I think it sort of might be Ultimate Alliance-y without the switching, really. As for the Avengers stuff, I don't know. We're really going to have to see at this point. We made predictions 2 years ago where we're like, oh, you know what, if they fix the graphics, and they did, maybe it'll be interesting when we don't have square-jawed Black Widow and weird-ass Iron Man masks and Thor and Bruce Banner looking just like a complete wimp. They made some changes, not maybe as much as Sonic the Hedgehog the movie, but they made some, and, you know, eventually it still fizzled, so it's a wait and see with Guardians of the Galaxy. But my prediction is they're going to try to push that game to be so good and so funny and have so much personality, kind of as a giant we're sorry about Marvel Avengers. And we'll see if my prediction for the Wasteland Patrol comes through. I bet it's going to be Destiny-ish, where you stumble upon events in random areas of the map. But I would really like to see it open up to a free play, especially with crossplay. Like, your numbers are low. You got to open it up to all the platforms. If Sony wants to be a dick like Sony is about crossplay and they don't want to participate, fine. They're getting Spider-Man. Let them not participate and piss their community off enough that maybe they'll like petition or something for it. But here, look at this. This just tells you about the hype. 2 years ago, since 2 years ago, the Marvel's Avengers videos got almost 4 million views. The two now have 136 at 54k, and that 54k is bad, real bad. Not a lot of happy people there about that one. So what do you guys think? Have you been catching E3 and the Marvel news and everything? What do you think about the videos that we saw here today? The Guardians one, the two Marvel's Avengers ones. Do you think Marvel's Avengers can be saved by the Cosmic Cube missions? Or do you think it could be saved by Black Panther? Or not at all? And how do you feel about Guardians of the Galaxy? Are you guys skeptical about Guardians of the Galaxy, seeing how Avengers turn out? Or are you saying in your own head, no, this is two separate games. I'm not tying these two together. I don't think one will affect the other. So looking forward to hearing from you guys and seeing your comments below. Have a good one.